and shape it to your will. Like a darting deer, will I rush to you before
before your
your
glorious
glorious
presence.
presence. Humbly will I bow. Let
Let your
your
sweet
sweet
love
love fill
delight me
me
with
with
its
its
thrill.
will, because no other dainty will my hunger still. How splendid is your light, illumining the world. My soul is weary yearning for your love's delight. Please, good God, to heal her, reveal to her your face, the pleasure of your presence, bathed in your grace. She will find strength and healing in your sight. Forever will she serve you, grateful with all her might. Die, 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 da, da, die, 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 da, da, die, 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 yada, die, 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 yada, die, 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 yada, die, 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 yada, die, die, die. Yada die 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 die. Yada die 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 die. Yada die 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 die. Yada die die die. Yada die 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 die. Yada die 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 die. Yada die 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 die. We'll turn now. Let's begin at the beginning, page 15. L'chunaranana, l'chuniranina, l'chuniranina, l'chuneranina, latunai, l'chuniranina, l'chuniranina, l'chuneranina, ladunai. Naria, naria, Tsuri Shenu. Kadma fana bitoda naria naria itsuri shenu izmirot naria lo lechuneranina 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 ladonai lechuneranina lechuneranina lechu Niranena Ladonai. All right, let's continue with the reading. Let's do it in the English. Let us sing to Adonai. Let us rejoice in our Creator. Let us greet God with thanksgiving, singing psalms of praise. Together, Adonai is the foundation of all life, exalted beyond all that is worshipped. In God's hand rests the world he fashioned. Sea and land, abyss and mountain peak, all are God's. Let us worship Adonai, exalt our Creator, our God. We are the flock guided by God. Help is ours even today, if only we would listen to the divine voice. Harden not your heart in the way of your ancestors, who tried and tested me in the wilderness, even though they had witnessed my miracles. 40 years of contending with that generation led me to say, they are wayward, they care not for my ways. In indignation, therefore, did I vow, never would they reach my land of peace, the land of rest. 40 שנה כות בדור ואומר עם טועה לבבהם והם לא ידעו דרכי אשר נשבעתי ביעפי אם יבואון אל מנוחתי. As you know, this particular psalm has irked me in the past. It's given me troubles because it does talk about God not being happy with the generation that escaped from Egypt. Instead, God says, you will die in the wilderness because of the sin of the golden calf, and I will replace you with the wilderness generation who are allegiant only to me and who will do everything I say. Well, that's well and good for the author of Psalms, whether it was David or somebody else. My feeling is that the second generation was no great shakes either. So I would like to believe that God, before that first generation passed away, forgave them and said, look, it's hard to be a Jew. We're all doing the best we can. I forgive you. Because if God's going to be judgmental, God should also be compassionate. Well, so there. Let's go on to page 17. Adonai malach takel haaretz yismechu im rabim. Ahanan varafel sivivav tzedek umishpat bechon kiso. Adonai is sovereign, responsively. Let the world rejoice. God's throne is founded on justice. Though God be clouded from view, divine justice reveals God's presence. God's lightning illumines the earth. Fire consumes God's foes. Mountains melt like wax before Adonai. The earth trembles. The heavens proclaim God's righteousness. All people behold his majesty. Shame covers those who worship idols, those who take pride in reverting images, which must themselves bow low before our God. Hearing of your judgments, Adonai, Zion exults, and the cities of Judah rejoice. You are supreme over all the earth, highly exalted beyond all that is worshipped. Those who love Adonai hate evil. God protects the faithful and saves them from the wicked. Light is stored for the righteous, joy for the honorable. Rejoice in Adonai, you who are righteous. Claim the holiness of God's name. And this is the last two lines. Or zarua lahatzadi uli shrele simcha. Or zarua lahatzadi uli shrele simcha. Yai dai dai yai dai dai yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai dai dai. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Continuing now on page 18. Nihizmor Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash Ki Niflahot Asa Hoshia Lo Yamino Uzroa Kacho. Let's read page 18 silently. Lifnei Adonai kiva lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel b'tzedek, v'yamim imei sharim. And page 20, we've been starting to add this particular psalm to our davening, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing because tomorrow, God willing, we'll sing it while a person carries the Torah around before it's what I call the Torah recession, where you're getting ready to put it back into the ark. Mizmor l'David, Havul Adonai b'ne'elim, Havul Adonai, Havud Vauz, Havul Adonai, Kivod Shemo, Ishtachavu Ladonai, Behadrat Kodesh, Kol Adonai al Hamayim, El HaKavod Hirim, Adonai al Mayim Rabim, Kol Adonai Ba'akoach, Kol Adonai Behadar, Kol Adonai Shover Arazim, Ayeshaber Adonai et Arzei Halavanu, Vayar Kidem Kimo Egel, Levanon Vesirion, Kimo Ven Vrehemim, Kol Adonai, Chotzev Lavotesh, Kol Adonai, Yachil Midbar, Yachil Adonai, Midbar Kadesh, Kol Adonai, Yecholel Ayalot, Vayechesof Yarot, Uvechalot, Kulo Merkavo, Adonai Lamabul Yashav, Vayeshev Adonai Melech Liholam, Adonai Oz Liamo Yitain, Adonai Yivarech et Amo Vashalom. Page 21, the Lachadodi. Echadodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nikabila Lechadodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nikabila. In English, keep and remember, both uttered as one by our Creator beyond comparison. The Adonai is one, his name is one, reflected in glory, in fame and in praise. Lechadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nikabila. Come, let us read Shabbat, Queen sublime, fountain of blessings in every clime, anointed and regal since earliest time. In thought she preceded creation 6 days. Lechadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat. Nikabila. Please rise. Oh, this is the fourth stanza on page 22. Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam b'simcha uvtzala toch emune am segula boi chala boi chala. Please be seated. Lecha Judi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nikah. As I said, be seated, please. Page 23. Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat. Reading silently. And the last 4 lines. Sadiq katamar yifrach ki erez balavanon yizke shetulim beveit Adonai Bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrich Od Yenuhovon Biseva Dishenim Irananim Yehu Lehaki Ki Ashar Adonai Tzuri Velo Avlatabo. I think page 24 is kind of nice also. Let's do it responsibly in the English, and then I'll give my remarks. Adonai is sovereign, crowned with splendor. Adonai reigns, robed in strength. Together, you set the earth on a sure foundation. You created a world that stands firm. Your kingdom stands from earliest time. You are eternal. The rivers may rise and rage, the waters may pound and pulsate, the floods may swirl and storm. Yet above the crash of the sea and its mighty breakers is Adonai our God supreme. Your decrees, Adonai, never fail. Holiness befits your house for eternity. Edot, the last four lines of the Hebrew. Mikolot ma'am rabim adiri mishpereya. Adir b'maroma Adonai. Edotecha nemnu miod. Levet chanava kodesh. Adonai biorech yami. All right, we can put the prayer books aside. Page 28 is the Baruch Hu. Let me talk about the Torah portion. The Torah portion is naso. If that word gives you a feeling of winter's chill and the snow spinning and children playing with snowballs and sledding down the hill in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, where they've got winter, I used to take Tyler and Jordan to the excellent sledding hill. It was wonderful. It was maybe half a block from our house, and you had the laws of gravity on your side. If you kept going far enough, you wound up in the water of the mill pond. That wasn't a good thing. But I have fond memories of winter. My favorite part of winter, and those of you who come from colder climes can attest to this, is when you go into the house and it's nice and warm, and you put on your sweats, and you put on your sweatshirt, and you sit in your recliner, and you think beautiful thoughts, and eventually you take a nap. That's not bad. That's absolutely not bad. Here in Florida, we don't have winter. I'll leave it at that. Okay. But Naso is significant because it's the Torah portion we read for Hanukkah. And the reason for that is because Hanukkah is post-biblical. Hanukkah took place in 168 BCE when the Syrian Greeks came marching into Israel and tried to conquer the Jews, but the Jews would not roll over easily. And we all know I like to think about Hanukkah in the heat of the summer because it reminds you that the seasons will change. Even in Florida, where we don't have four seasons. Once again, those of you who lived in places where they do winter, summer, spring, and fall. In Florida, we have Florida. It's always Florida. It's like living in the Amazon. I'm not complaining, but I narrowly dodged a couple of iguanas today. I felt sorry for them. I absolutely did. Even though iguanas have twice as many legs as we do, it's always hard for them to get out of the way. Well, Naso is the Torah portion that we read on Hanukkah. Why, Farvos? Because Hanukkah started after the Torah was completed, and the Sofrim, there were no rabbis there. There were scribes, the Sofrim, called Sofrim because they counted the words of the Torah. They could tell you in the 5 books which was the middle word. Of course, they knew the beginning and the end. But after Hanukkah took place and resulted in a triumph and a victory for the Maccabees, it is a little odd talking about this in June, but it cools me off. The Sofrim, the scribes, said that we are going to read, we need a reading with at least 8 lines, 8 days. So they chose Naso. Why? Because Naso describes the dedication of the Mishkan. It's one of those religious objects that just kept on getting dedicated. It was dedicated in Exodus and Sefer Shemot, and it was dedicated several times in Bamidbar. It's kind of like they forgot the previous dedication, so said, well, let's do it again. Every day for 12 days. Why 12? Because there are 12 tribes. Every day for 12 days, a Nasi, a prince of the tribe, every tribe had its prince. My favorite one is Nachshon ben Aminadab, which translates roughly as snake, the son of my people are generous. I must say, I've had some kids who were saddled with strange Hebrew names, but that's one of them. Years ago, I had a boy whose English name was Josh and whose Hebrew name was Avraham. I couldn't figure that out. It was very hard to remember. But in any case, every day of Hanukkah, there is a brief Torah reading, which gives the paragraph dealing with a particular tribe, Reuven, Shimon, Gad, Yisachar, Halevi, and so on, and so on. And they all brought the same thing. On the first day, the tribe of Reuven came with, under the rule of their Nasi, their prince, whose name is given, and they brought 6 sheep, 1 ram, 3 cows, 4 goats, and so on. And on Tuesday, the second day of Hanukkah, the tribe of Shimon came. And guess what? They brought the same type of stuff because the Torah loves repetition. Maybe that's why we read the same Torah readings year after year after year. I'd rather delve into Joshua or Judges or First and Second Samuel, First and Second Kings, but the Torah says, nope, this is what you got. Come up with some new things to say about it. And they couldn't just say. And every day for 12 days, each and every tribe came, and they all brought the same offerings. No, they just keep listing it and listing it. That's, as I say, our ancestors loved that sort of stuff because we have no idea for how many years or centuries this material was transmitted orally before somebody said, I better write it down. We could forget it. All right. Not so. According to this commentary, it says it means count. It doesn't mean count. It means to carry, because when you're wandering through the wilderness, you want to be careful with what you carry. They had all the accoutrements, as my mother used to say, of the holy sanctuary on wagons. And when they stopped for a particular length of time, I'm sure they didn't just say, if they settled down for an afternoon siesta, Moses didn't say, Aaron didn't say, well, set it up. We'll just set it up here. And then in 2 hours, we'll break it down and keep going. No, as I've said before, there were instances when they lived in the same place in the wilderness for 3 years, which is not the longest time, but it's a good long time to have your sanctuary up. How many Levites were there? 8,580. It's wonderful that Moses had all this time to count them. Maybe he had a clicker. Between the ages of 30 and 50 are counted in a tally of those who'll be doing the actual work of transporting the tabernacle. It reminds me, because we've already gone through the building of the tabernacle, also known as the Mishkan, also known as the sanctuary. And there were only among a people who had 600,000 males to call upon. How many handy people did they find? 2, Bezalel and Aholiab. It really gives you pause, but I know now why Jews tend not to be terribly handy. I've met plenty of handy other folks, but not so much with the Jews. Because I recall, and here we'll talk about Sukkot. In my previous congregation, there was only one man who was handy. And when the time came for building the sukkah, he would stand on a stepladder out there in the cold, and we would stand with him. We were with him. His name was MJ. And we would criticize. He was building, we were criticizing. Also a Jewish activity. Oh, you didn't get the screw in straight. Oh, you've got to put that board over there. I would stand quietly. It's not for me to judge these things. And besides, I had no idea how the thing was put together anyway. Okay, God communicates to Moses the law of the Sotah, the wayward wife suspected of unfaithfulness to her husband. This, to me, is one of the most shocking and degrading laws which came along. The idea is that this lovely woman is married to this horrific man, and he accuses her of adultery. And how do they find out if she's committed adultery? Well, for goodness sake, get the word out. Well, maybe not. And find out who the suspects are. No. In the Torah, it says, let this woman go to meet with the high priest in a sort of a courtroom setting, and he reaches down and takes water from the Mishkan. I assume this is the precursor to the holy water, which our Christian neighbors use. Then the high priest is to bend over and scoop up a handful of dirt from the floor of the sanctuary. He takes a bowl, he mixes therein the dirt and the water and has her drink it, forces her to drink it. And if she has indeed, excuse me, committed adultery, her belly will swell and her thigh will get flabby. And this is considered a sort of false pregnancy. Now, the rabbis of later ages despised this particular custom, and they did everything they could to eradicate it. By the time you get to the late 10th, early 11th century, which is the time of my favorite rabbinic commentator on the Torah and the Talmud and the Tanakh and so on, Rashi, Rav Shlomo ben Yitzchak, and he says, we shouldn't call this sota. This is the woman suspected of adultery. No, we should call it shoteh, because the word shoteh means fool. And any man who is fool enough to accuse his wife who loves him of adultery is rightly to be called shoteh. So eventually, I don't know if anyone's doing this anymore, even the Orthodox. I can't imagine anyone mistreating women in such a blatant fashion. Let's get on to something a little more pleasant. This is something you can consider doing. Nobody does it anymore, but that's Nazarite, becoming a Nazir, a Nazarite, not a Nazarene. Nazarene is a Christian because he followed you-know-who of Nazareth. But Nazir, a Nazarite, is someone, I guess it could be male or female, who takes an oath that for 30 days or some prolonged period, they will not drink wine and they will not cut their hair. And they're doing this in order to increase their religiosity. Most of the rabbis said this is foolishness. But of course, most of us remember the name of our most famous Nazarite, who of course was Shimshon Hagibor, Samson, who never cut his hair and so was gifted with super strength. He was indeed the inspiration to Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, a 16 and 17-year-old, can't remember where they grew up, Cleveland, Baltimore, someplace like that, who invented the first superhero, of course, Superman. And Superman has some Jewish qualities about him. He was put into a rocket ship to escape his home planet, which was about to explode. Similarly, the Jews escaped from Egypt, and so on and so on. But then he becomes Clark Kent, the reporter, and I have to say that he becomes how can I say this nicely? He becomes the most Gentile you could ever know. But his forebear is Samson. The rabbis, as I say, were not very adoring of Nazarites because you're putting on the dog. You're not necessarily pretending. You could very easily be sincere in your Nazariteness. But the rabbis felt, hey, you want to be a better Jew, do mitzvot, study Torah, try to do the right thing. Don't bother cutting your hair. Now, I know I told you this last year, years ago. There was my friend Jerry Stern, and Jerry was a bit of a meshuggah. He dropped out of Yeshiva High School, and he went to Rabbi Jacob Joseph, which was then on the Lower East Side. I think they've moved to Staten Island since. Or was it MTJ? No, it was MTJ. It was Sifta Tiferet Yerushalayim. The Rav, the establishing, founding, and Rosh Yeshiva, the head of the yeshiva in that yeshiva shul, was none other than the late great Rav Moshe Feinstein, who was a Gadol Hador. He was a great scholar of our generation. Now, his relationships with the non-Orthodox were not so ay. But even so, what happened was the Jerry came in, and we were all doing this. We were all growing our hair. We wanted to be the Beatles. If we couldn't sing, if we couldn't get the girls, at least we could have a long hair. And he's sitting there in Talmud class, minding his business, at peace with the world. And his Rebbe, a lot of these rabbis like to interfere in your personal life, says, Stern. He says, yes, Rabbi? He says, Stern, get a haircut. Your hair's too long. So Jerry brilliantly replied to him, Rabbi, I cannot get a haircut. He said, Pavos, why? He says, because I took an oath. What oath is that? I took an oath to be a Nazarite. Now, if I were the rabbi, if any other intelligent person were the rabbi, he would have said, Stern, you're full of it. Get yourself a haircut by tomorrow or don't come to class. But no, Jerry comes to yeshiva the next day and the rabbi says, Stern, go see the Rav. Go see the Rosh Yeshiva. And he goes in, and there before him is Rav Moshe Feinstein himself. He was a giant in terms of Torah knowledge. Physically, he was fairly short, but he's sitting there with two other rebbeim. And what do? They have a bet din. They have a Jewish law court, and they exonerate Jerry, who never took the oath of Nazariteship. They exonerate him from his oath because they all believed him. They couldn't imagine that one of their yeshiva bachur would ever not tell the truth to them. So anyway, and the moral is get a haircut. So I did last Sunday. Okay, let's see. The Nazarite does not drink wine. He lets his or her hair grow long, and he's forbidden to become contaminated through contact with the dead body. So he's a quasi-Kohen, actually. Aaron and his descendants, the Kohanim, are instructed on how to bless the people of Israel. And you know this blessing because from time immemorial, rabbis have been using the three-part Aaronide blessing, blessing of the children of Aaron, when they bless the congregation. I will not give it now because I'll give it at the end of the service. Finally, the leaders of the 12 tribes of Israel bring their offerings to inaugurate the author. Oh, see, before it was dedicated. Now it's inaugurated. There's obviously a difference. Their gifts are identical, but they are individually described by the Torah. Thank you so much. Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos. Let's please rise. Page 28. Nice to see the four-legged members of the congregation. Please rise and yes, we'll do the Baruch Hu on page 28. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam Voed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam Voed. Amen. That was such a sweet moment when you two folks got up for the Baruch Hu, that is Rita and Paul. Lily, the dog, looked up and said, oh, they're standing up. I could take their seats. So she stretched herself out to her full length and said, but maybe they'll be back. It's all right. I'm the queen. Okay, let's move on. Here we are. That very nice paragraph on 28. Anyone know the progress? Unfortunately, our mics are off, except me. But the progress of not the space station, the Starliner, which sounds more and more like a 1955 Buick. Anyone know what's happening? Are they in good health? Whatever. Okay, we don't know. Yes, there you go. That shows the strength of the American space program, because when a rocket goes up, we have no idea. Okay, let's do it anyway. On the lower left, page 28, light and darkness responsibly. Light and darkness, night and day, we marvel at the mystery of stars. Moon together, moon and sky, sand and sea, we marvel at the mystery of sun. Twilight, high noon, dusk and dawn. Though we are mortal, we are creation's crown. Flesh and bone, steel and stone, we dwell in fragile temporary shelters. Grand steadfast love, compassion, grace. Sustain us, God, our origin is dust. Majesty, mercy, love endure. We are but little lower than the angels. Resplendent skies, sunset, sunrise, the grandeur of creation lifts our lives. Evening darkness, morning dawn, renew our lives as you renew all time. Amen. It's a nice reading. I always like that reading. Page 29. Avat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amchavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Hukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadita. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu, B'shachvenu u'v'kumenu, Nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'v'mitzvotecha, Leolam Voed. Ki heim chayenu, ki orech yameinu, ki orech yameinu. Uvahem nege yomam alayla. Bi'avatecha al tasir imenu li'olamin, li'olamin. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Amen. Page 30 is the Shema. We cover the eyes. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Uncover the eyes. Baruch Shem Kivod, Malchuto, Olam Vahed. And reading the English paragraph, you shall love. Together, you shall love Adonai your God with all of your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. And these words which I command you this day, you shall take to heart. Teach them diligently to your children. Recite them at home and away, night and day. Bind them as a sign upon your hand, and as a reminder above your eyes. Inscribe them upon the doorposts of your homes, on your gates. It's the first prayer most Hebrew school students learn. Okay. Okay. Let's take a look at page 31, the bottom right, sayings of the Gerer Rebbe. Don't do this very much. We should. The Gerer Rebbe said, when one learns the Torah, prays much, and begins to think, I am truly pious. I overlook nothing in the performance of my religious duties. Such a one transgresses the command, do not be seduced by your heart, nor led astray by your eyes. Let such people look at the tzitzit and be reminded who they are. That's a lovely, lovely prayer. Of course, you know, we don't wear the tzitzit at night. Well, you can wear the arba kanfos. I used to. It's a sort of a serape. It's 18 inches by 18 inches, got a hole in the middle. That's where you put your head, drape it over your shoulders. And this is where we come to a parting of the ways. Because when I was a kid, you didn't wear the tzitzit on the outside. Nowadays, you can easily tell a Chabadnik, for example, by the fact that he wears his tzitzit on the outside, because that way he's fulfilling the mitzvah of uritem otam. You shall look upon them. So when you look upon the tzitzit, it reminds you of the mitzvot, the ones we do and the ones we don't do. Page 32 is the Michamocha. Michamocha, Bohelim Adonai, Michamocha, Nedor Kodesh, Norati Lot, Osef Ele, Balchutcha Rovanecha, Bokeayam, Lifnei Moshe, Seili anu v'amru, Adonai imloch li'olam voed, v'nemar, ki fada Adonai et Yaakov, u'gialo mi'ad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, go'al Yisrael. Amen. And on page 33, the top left, we have the paragraph for the cholim, the folks who are not well. We are thinking about our dear friend Joe Albert, who fell and broke his hip. I did leave him a message this afternoon. And we wish him refuah shalema. The other folks to whom we owe refuah shalema are Sonia Androphy, Paul Dobbs, refuah shalema for Sonia, Sheila Bergman, refuah shalema, Elisa Pepper, refuah shalema, Vince and Patricia Massey, refuah shalema, Herb Yevsky, refuah shalema, Marty Mentor, refuah shalema. If there are any additional names, please hold them in your hearts. As always, we are thinking also about our brothers and sisters in the state of Israel going through this terrible conflict. Let's read the English paragraph on the top left on 33. Help us, Adonai, to lie down in peace and awaken us again, our sovereign, to life. Spread over us your shelter of peace. Guide us with your good counsel. Save us because of your mercy. Shield us from enemies and pestilence, from starvation, sword, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, O God, who watches over us and delivers us, our gracious and merciful ruler. Guard our coming and our going. Grant us life and peace now and always. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Praise you, Adonai, who spreads the shelter of peace over us, over all his people Israel, over Jerusalem and the entire world. Amen. Ufros aleinu, sukat shlomecha, baruch atah Adonai, aporei sukat shalom, aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisroel, v'al Yerushalayim, v'al kol haolam kulo. Amen. Page 34 of the Vishamru. Vishamru B'nei Yisroel et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat Lidorotam Berit Olam Vishamru B'nei Yisroel et Shabbat Lasot et HaShabbat Lidorotam Berit Olam Beini uvein b'nei Yisroel Oti liolam Oti liolam Oti liolam Vishamru b'nei Yisroel et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat Lidorotam Berit Olam Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz v'shamru v'nei Yisroel et hashabat lasot et hashabat lidorot b'rit olam Ki sheshet vayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Vishamru b'nei Yisroel et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat Lidorot Berit Olam. Please rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rab. Amen. Yalma divrach Yerute v'yamlich malchute v'cha ayechon uv'yo omechon uv'chaye techol beit Yisroel Agala, Agala, Uvizman Kari, Vimeru, Amen. Yeheshme Rabba Mivara, Viola, Yol Meol Maya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, Vishtabach, Yitbohar, Vitromam, Vitnase, Yitadar, Yitale, Yitalal, Shemei de Kudisha Brichu, Liela, Min Kol Birchata, Bishirata, Tushbechata, Vene, Lemata, Damiran, Bialema, Bimeru, Amen. The Amidah, page 35b, concluding on page 38. When you're done, you may be seated. Sorry about that. As you know, there are slow daveners and fast daveners. And one time there was a minyan where the particular Baal Tefillah, the one who was leading the davening that morning, it was a weekday morning, was davening very, very slowly. And the congregation complained to the rabbi, because that's what congregations do. And they said, "Why does he daven so slow?" And the rabbi said, "Does he daven slower than Moshe Rabbeinu, than Moses, our rabbi, our teacher, who davened before God for 40 days and 40 nights?" The next day, they chose a fellow who davened like a whirlwind. Boom. It's called "What's Your Hurry, Omein?" And the congregation once again complained to the rabbi. And they said, "How come he davens so fast?" And the rabbi smiled and said, "Does he daven faster than Moshe Rabbeinu, again, who prayed to God for his sister Miriam's recovery from leprosy with how many words? El na refa na la, 5 words. Please God, heal her, please. So you see, they're all different kinds of people. I feel everybody should daven at the speed with which they are comfortable. Okay. Page 38. Let's do Shalom Rav. At the top. Shalom Rav, Al Yisroel Amcha, Tasim V'olam. Shalom Rav, Al Yisroel Amcha, Tasim V'olam. Ki ata u'melech Adon, Lechol HaShalom. Ki ata u'melech Adon, Lechol HaShalom. Shalom Rav, Al Yisroel Amcha, Tasi Li'olam. Shalom Rav, Al Yisroel Amcha, Tasi Li'olam. Tasi Li'olam. Tasi Li'olam. All right, page 47. Let's read the translation at the top left. The heavens and the earth and all they contain were completed. On the seventh day, God finished the work he had been doing and ceased on the seventh day from all the work that he had done. Then God blessed the seventh day and called it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation. And we'll continue now with the full Kaddish on page 48. Yitkara v'yitkara shemei rabba amen. Yalma divrach irute v'yamlich malchute v'chayechon v'yimechon v'chayei l'chol beit Yisrael v'agalav v'zman kariv yimru amen. Yeheshme rabba mevarach v'yola v'yol me'ol maya Yitbarach, Yitbarach, Vishtabach, Vitpoar, Vitromam, Vitnase, Vitadar, Vitale, Vitalal, Shmei Kudisha, Richu, V'elam in Kol Berchata V'shirata, Tushbachata V'nechamata, Damiran Bialma V'imru, Amen. Tikabal Tzloton Uvauton, Techoy Yisrael, Kadam Avuhon Divishmaya V'imru, Amen. O Yehesh Lama Rabba Min Shemaya, L'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru, Amen. Ose Shalom Bimroma, Uyasa Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru, Amen. Yasa Shalom, Yasa Shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Yahase Shalom, Yahase Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yoshvei Tevel, Yimru Amen. The Aleinu, all the Kiddush first, page 49. Charge your glasses, cups, what have you. Savri Mornan Vrabanan Vrabotai, Baruch Adonai, Eloheinu melech olam, Borei pri hagafen, Amen. Baruch Adonai, Eloheinu melech olam, Asher kiddushanu mitzotav ratzavanu, B'Shabbat kodsho b'yava v'ratzon inchilanu, Zikaron lemase vereshit, ki hu yom techila lemekrai kodesh, zeichel yitziat Mitzrayim, kivanu bacharta, yotanu hidashta, mikol hoamim, v'shabbat kodshecha, Yahava uvratzon inchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai v'kadesh ha-Shabbat. Amen. Chaim l'shalom of simchas. And we don't count the Omer. Shavuot calls an end to the Omer. I hope you had a lovely Shavuot. And on page 51, please rise for the Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, lateit gedula v'yotzeh breshit, shelo asanu higoye haratzot, v'lo samanu mishpachot hadama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'goralenu kechol hamonam, Anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu noteh shamayim yoser haaretz umoshav ikaro b'shamayim imal ushchinatu zo ushchinatu zo and the last two lines. V'nemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo Ushemo echad, Ushemo echad. On page 52, as we have been doing, please all of us remain standing in memory of those Israelis who lost their lives. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Amen. V'yalma divrach chirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yimechon, v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, V'agalau v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach v'yolam ulmeil maya. Yitborach v'yishtabach v'yitpo'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha b'richu v'ela min kol be'erchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran v'yalma v'imru amen. Yehi shalama Rabba min shemaya L'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. Please be seated, and we're very happy and honored to listen to some well-chosen words from our temple president, Ms. Rita Fleming Klein.
Okay. Good Shabbos, everyone.
Dina.
It's good to be with you. It's lovely to see you, Adele and David. How nice on a Friday night. It feels so good. I want to tell you that Joe Alfred's daughter, Mackie, called me this afternoon to let me know that Joe had taken a fall in the house. Now, he was at the Shavuot service yesterday, which was very lovely. He had a wonderful time. We, in fact, drove him home. Paul saw him to the door. Hi, Rachie. Hi, sweetheart. Uh, Paul saw him to the door. He got upstairs. He was in the apartment doing fine. We don't know when this happened or what, but he's at Holy Cross Hospital. He's going to have surgery tomorrow. They're either doing a hip replacement or a repair. I don't exactly know. But and he just he healed so well. His shoulder was broken, and he just got over that. So extra special prayers and thoughts for Joe. And probably sometime after tomorrow, everyone can call if you like, but he needs a day or two. He's going to be in the hospital for a few weeks. So that's that news. I want to tell you about something special. And I want to tell you that Sherry was the inspiration for this project that we're going to be doing. Sherry and I were talking when she had yahrzeit for her beloved father, and she reminded me that she had sent me a beautiful picture of her parents quite some time ago. And I asked if she could resend it to me. And it's absolutely beautiful. It's one of those older pictures that we all have of our parents when we were little. And I thought, what a wonderful thing to have a project called Memories for our bulletin, where if you have a yahrzeit and you have one of these wonderful pictures at home and you send it in to Joni and I, we can put it in the bulletin, and we'll ask you to inscribe a few words on the bottom of the, not of the photo, but for the bottom of it when it's in the bulletin, so that all of us can share in the faces of these people that all of you have loved and that we would love to see. So the last week in June, you're going to see Sherry's beautiful mother and father in the bulletin with a few lines that Sherry wrote. So she will be the first one in our memory project. And thank you, Sherry, so much. You inspired me tremendously. Now, it also doesn't have to be for yahrzeits. If it was a mother or father's birthday or their anniversary or any occasion that you feel you would like everyone to share those beautiful faces that you love so much, please. Joni and I are in the office Mondays and Thursdays, but you can always send the photograph into info, and we'll get them as in order of receipts. So I hope you'll join in that. We're very, very touched by something as sweet as that. So we wish you a good Shabbos, and it's lovely to see each and every one of you.
Thank you.
Good
Thank you.
Shabbos.
Thank you for your words, Rita. Always very welcome. And we thank Sherry for the inspiration. That's very nice. We look forward to seeing all these photographs. Let's fall back on a traditional tune, which we all know. And thank you all for participating. And I look forward to seeing several of you in shul tomorrow morning. The class that I'm going to be leading, is what we've been doing, More Tales from My Father's Court by Isaac Bashevis Singer, which talks about the happenstances and foibles of our ancestors in Eastern Europe, except for those of us who are Sephardim or Mizrahi. Here we go. Adon olam asher malach v'terem kol yitzir nivra v'yet nasa v'chefzo kol azai melech shemo nikra v'acharei kichlotak levado Yimloch Nora, Vehu Haya, Vehu Hove, Vehu Yeh, V'tifara, Vehu Echad, V'ein Sheni, Lehamshilo, Lehachbira, V'li Reshit, V'li Tachlit, Elohaos, Mitzra Vehu Eli V'chai Goali V'tzur Chevli V'etzara Vehu Nisi Umanosli V'nat Kosi V'yo Ekra Biado Avkid Ruchi V'etishan V'yahira Imruchi Giviati Adonai Li V'lo Ira. Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos. Please rise for the closing benediction. Yivarechacha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Yo'er Adonai panav elecha v'choneka. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha. Yasem lecha shalom. May the Lord turn his face unto you and grant you peace. We'll say Amen. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat Shabbat Shabbat. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat Shabbat Shabbat. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Good Shabbos. Nice to see all of you. God bless you all, really. Okay. Are we schmoozing? Is the audio on or not schmoozing? To schmooze or not to schmooze?
To schmooze.
Yes.
See you all in July. We're going on a
where you-
cruise.
That's very nice. Okay, great. Where are you going?
To Canada, from Fort Lauderdale, Canada, and fly back from Quebec to Fort Lauderdale.
Very nice.
Nice,
Have
nice.
a good time. You'll be up there among the fish. Yes.
Yeah, travel safely, Steve, and our
Yes.
best to Gail.
Right. You
Okay,
bet.
thank you.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have news?
I just want to say hi to Adele and David.
Hi,
Hi,
Sherry.
too. Nice to see
Okay.
I'm
you.
so happy to see you.
Wonderful to see you. You're so good.
Thank you. Join us on a Friday more often, so it's not like a big thing when I see you.
Yeah.
Well, we finished dinner early. It doesn't always happen.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right. Well, I guess Shabbat Shalom to one and all. Thank you so much for coming. We always look
Thank
forward to
you.
seeing you. This
And
is
thank
great.
you again, Rita.
Good
Thanks,
Shabbos, everyone.
Thank
you.
Good
Thank
job.
you. Thank you, Dina. Thank you for.
Rita, is Joe's daughter staying here?
She's coming in, a friend of theirs, Wendy Merles, who was a member of Temple, is with him now. Because she lives quite local. Mackie will be down on Sunday. She's flying down, so she'll be with him, but there's someone with him right now. We told him we would come by tomorrow, but he said he didn't want to see anybody yet.
Oh, right.
So.
Rita, may I ask you a question? Because I only know one Joe in the synagogue. He's probably one of my favorite people there. I don't know his last name. He sits behind me usually during services when I'm there on a Saturday. Is that who you mean?
That's the Joe who sits next to Paul.
Yes.
Yes,
Joe
yes.
Joe Albert, yeah.
Oh, I never knew his last name. He's one of the nicest people in the whole shul.
Yes.
He
He
is
is.
a trooper. He's a great guy.
I
Yes.
hope he'll be all
Yes.
right. I will say a prayer.
Oh,
Yes,
thank
he's-
you. Thank
He's
you.
instrumental in giving out the aliyahs.
Yeah, he likes to do that. And then,
And David too.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
he's instrumental in giving Paul a can right after
Oh.
services.
Oh, good.
So that's his,
What?
it's either a lifesaver or a Werther's caramel. But
There
he
you go.
always comes with some sweetie in his pocket to give to Paul.
Yeah, he ran out of lifesavers, so he was giving me his butterscotch. I have a
Worth
home full of them.
And on the occasions that I've ever made it to a minion or in a service when I'm lost and I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing, he's always there to help me and guide me and show me the way.
Very nice
He is a great guy. He still comes up and does his Aliyahs on Saturday. And he did one on yesterday at Shavuot.
Yeah, he likes to come to the Minions on, he was there on Thursday.
He likes to come to the group after the service for learning, and he always, on the way out, he always tells me tales of living in Connecticut. Yes, yes,
A very good man.
yes, yes. He's convinced me that Connecticut is its own state. It's not just New York North. Okay.
Well, I
Anyone
hope
else?
he's okay.
Yeah, we do.
we did
Do
too.
indeed. He just got over the shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello, Ron.
Bye,
are you?
Shabbos, everyone.